On this episode of reDefine Show, I share a series of quick tips on how to better photograph fast-moving subjects.
AdoramaTV presents the reDefine Show with Tamara Lackey, bringing fresh ideas and equipment favorites.
You can check out much more content with photographers by watching AdoramaTV. Hi, this is Tamara Lackey, and on this episode of reDefine Show for AdoramaTV, I'm going to finish what I started last episode when I went through how you can use the Micro Nikkor 105 f2.8 lens as not only a macro lens, but also as a portrait and a close-up lens. This time, I'm going to show you how you can also use it to really increase all the versatility of the lens for fast-moving subjects. When it wouldn't normally be the lens you'd grab, how you can still make it work. We have with us again Mr. Caleb. Caleb, jump in here. Caleb was our fantastic model for last episode, and he's returning to be able to do some fast movement for us, right? You run all the time anyway, so it works out well for you. So before we jump into that though, I had some questions that I wanted to provide some more information, some clarification from our last episode. One of the things I'd mentioned was that the 105 isn't necessarily as fast a lens as, say, the 2470 f2.8. And the question that came in was, well, if they're both f2.8 lenses, why is one not as fast as the other? Fast glass is a term that's often used to describe a lens that can achieve maximum aperture. So if you can go to an f2.8 or you can open up to an f1.8 or something, or 1.4, that would be considered faster glass. Another term when you're talking about fast glass is basically glass that's fast or quick to focus on fast moving subjects. So specifically what I'm referring to is a lens that will grab action quickly, and the 105 isn't really known as a lens that'll do that as quickly as the 2470 f2.8.
Wasn't there a question about how the lens auto-calculates or something?
There was, Caleb. Very good job. One of the things I mentioned on the last episode is that when you get closer to your subjects, one of the great things about the macro lens is that it'll do some auto-calculation. What I'm referring to is that it'll increase the focal range so you have better picture quality, which is one of the lovely things about the Nikkor system with the macro lenses and a few other lenses as well. Okay, so we're going to jump into how you can use the 105 for speedier subjects, which again is not traditionally used for, but you can do that. Caleb, you want to jump back and get into action for me? Very nice. Okay, so I'm looking around, and in this setting, today I'm shooting with the Nikon D4, and as well, of course, with the 105. Last time I shot with the Nikon D800, and I'm going to go ahead and set up a bit of a higher ISO because I'm going to be shooting with a higher shutter speed outside. And so I'm going to be at probably 1/800th for shutter speed and about a 5.6 for aperture. Part of the reason I'm choosing these settings is because I want to give myself a little more wiggle room because he's going to be moving towards me instead of shooting at a very shallow depth of field, which will make it a lot more difficult to get a crisp capture when he's moving quickly. The other thing I'm going to keep in mind is how I'm going to set my focusing system. Most of the time, the vast majority of the time, I'm shooting single shot, one focus, just that little red dot in the middle of the little red square in terms of the focal point, and I'm focusing and recomposing. It's just how I've gotten used to shooting. There's a million different ways to do it right. That happens to be my experience of it. And in this case though, when I'm shooting with a lens that's not going to be as quick to grab focus, I'm going to switch to a continuous mode, and I'm going to have a lot better luck with shooting. So I'm going to switch to the continuous focal mode, automatic focus mode, and I'm going to ask Caleb to come towards me. One thing I always ask subjects when they are running towards me is to keep in mind that they want to keep their elbows in a little bit and their legs in a little bit, just for a more attractive capture. So Caleb, if you can keep that in mind, keep your elbows a little bit, your legs a little bit in, and then just come towards me in a regular kind of fashion. You don't have to sprint as fast as possible, but kind of a normal run. Excellent. Oh, you look happy too, don't you? Very good. Because I am shooting out here, I get to take advantage of the fact that I'm really not competing with anything else for focal points because right behind him is this long distance and I'm pointing my camera and lens in that direction on purpose. If he were running towards me through these woods, these crowded woods, for instance, I would have a lot more competition for that focal point. Even though the system's very good at grabbing the moving subject, I don't want to even risk it and have any other distractions. So by putting him out in a space where he's really far away from a background, I'm able to achieve focus that much more crisply and faster. The other thing I'm keeping in mind, of course, is ensuring that I'm in a matrix mode for metering because everything's roughly about the same exposure in terms of where he's coming in from, and that's also going to make sure that I grab my exposure more properly. This is Tamara Lackey. Be sure to check out Adorama's latest contest to win some fabulous prizes. So in addition to the tips I've just gone over, which include ensuring that your technical settings are set up to give you the best chance possible to capture a fast-moving subject quickly, those technical settings, of course, include a higher shutter speed, a higher ISO to support that, a more extended field of focus so that you get more wiggle room when your subject's moving towards you, the ability to separate your subject from the background so you don't have to worry about distractions, not just from a composition perspective, but distractions from your focal point being grabbed by something else errantly if they're going through a crowded background or something, and making sure I'm set up in a matrix metering mode. In addition to all those ideas, the other tip I would say is to switch to a burst mode and try out the ability to grab 10, 11 frames per second. The Nikon D4 is fabulous for this. Be able to grab a few sections of frames at a time to be able to pull out the expression or the look that you like best. So we're going to do that real quick. Ready, Caleb? Just come at me. I'm going to switch to a burst mode and do exactly what you've been doing, just coming at me in such a happy way. And I'll grab a few frames, okay? Come on. Excellent. The one thing to keep in mind with the burst mode is that as much as possible, if you can recompose, because I've seen sometimes people have a subject running at them and they click once and they just hold. And your subject's well out of range by the time that last burst is going through. So just recompose as they move towards you quickly. I hope that was helpful. Thanks so much for your kind comments too. We all appreciate them. Join us here next time on reDefine Show for AdoramaTV. And don't forget to subscribe to AdoramaTV for all kinds of amazing content from all over the world.
Do you want great looking prints at low cost? Be sure to visit our easy-to-use online printing service. Adorama Pix has professionals who treat your images with the utmost care that you can count on. For a quick turnaround on photos, cards, or albums, use AdoramaPix.com.